Hi, this is Ed from Wright. Today we're going to talk a little bit about why Wright. Why would you buy a mower from Wright Manufacturing? And a few things about how I see business in general and the most successful approach to doing business. Okay, so first off, we're going to talk about our focus on making you successful. If that's our primary focus as a business, it'll help us be more successful, will help you be more successful. And what is success? Well, it's a lot of things, but one of the things that's important for any of it to work is your profitability. So that means that we make equipment that's highly productive. We're going to talk more about the equipment in a second. And then the other thing, just as I think about success, and many of us, we make our different career choices for many different reasons, and I love this industry. I've grown up in this industry, and originally we started as a landscape company. Now we sell products to people like you, and some of the things that I love about this industry is it's filled with people that are very hardworking. They're very independent. They're entrepreneurs. And that's an approach that I really respect. The other thing is that there's the notion of the landscape community, and as social media has become more and more prevalent these past couple of years, there's been some people have defined it as different groups of people or subscribers or whatnot. But I think that concept has always existed. If you go back a handful of years, Lawn Sight was really the number one tool where people got on a forum and talked about different things. It was before the notion of subscribers or friends existed online, but it was a place where people shared ideas and things that were working and not working. And before Lawn Sight, I think we had, in most areas, pretty tight communities of landscapers. Folks knew each other. They caught up. They shared ideas when they crossed paths and that kind of thing. And while at it, I'll just mention that 99% of the people in this business celebrate each other's success, but there's a very small percentage of people that will actually look down on other people that are doing the same thing they're doing. And I think what happens is it's easy to forget that success is not really an absolute thing. It's relative. And so everyone starts at the bottom and works up their way over the years in terms of whatever their business approach is, whatever they're doing. And really there's no need to disrespect someone else because they're running a smaller business, or maybe they have a focus on lower cost properties or something like this. Everybody has their niche, and we all have to respect what we all bring unique to this business. So I love this business. I love the type of people that are in it. And as I talk about us being a company that's very much focused on you, our customer, I think that's an important context. So there's a product first approach that we have. It means that the equipment is high performance. It's a driver's car, you might say. And so there's several ways to approach a piece of equipment. You can design a piece of equipment so it's easy to manufacture. You can design equipment that's focused on a fleet buyer. You can design a piece of equipment that's focused on the person who's going to be driving it, you. And so I think when we look at those hierarchy of things, the number one thing we put on there is making it a driver's machine. That means that it's very responsive. An analogy I have here is when I was a kid, I had a 50cc motorbike, and we'd go flying through the woods on it, and it didn't have a lot of power. It wasn't very responsive. And I saved my pennies, and I bought myself a motocross bike. And when I first got on it, I thought, boy, I'm going to kill myself because it was so responsive. The brakes were extremely responsive. It was so much faster. But, within a couple days, I had pretty good control of it. And That's the way our equipment is. Our equipment, if you're new to it, you'll find that it's very responsive. It's almost jumpy. But as you become more experienced, more used to the equipment, you'll find that you can actually get more out of it because of that. So we tend to make our equipment very much a driver's vehicle. The other thing that we look at when we make our equipment is making it highly reliable, making it fairly hassle-free. We want the equipment to not be leaving you in the middle of a job. That's a major loss to your production, and those costs can quickly overcome the cost that we might put into the machine to make it more reliable in the first place. So we definitely go the extra mile at some extent with making it less hassle. The other thing is that I'll be the first to say our equipment's not the cheapest, and it's not our approach. And our approach is that over the life of the machine, we'll have the lowest life cycle cost. So how many hours or years a machine will last, and through those years, how much maintenance do you have to do, and how many breakdowns do you have, and what's the residual on the machine when you go to sell it. We look at that whole picture, and we find that if we make a better machine up front, that might be a couple $100 more expensive, that over the couple years that you own it and you run it, seriously put thousands of hours on it, that you'll end up saving money by buying our equipment. So there's a focus on reliability and performance. The other thing that's very important is support. When your machine, your paycheck depends on this machine working every single day, it's very important that things like our warranty, our parts, how the machines are designed to be repaired and fixed, all those things are working well. And so we have a strong commitment to keeping the equipment running like that because, again, your income, your profitability is dependent on all of that working well. The other thing is, I've always had a mechanical approach. I grew up taking things apart, fixing things, a lot of curiosity, how things are built, and passionate about equipment itself. And so when we design machines, we build them ourselves. All of our engineers know how to weld. They all know how to assemble things. We make our first prototypes. Every engineer for that part of the machine builds their own parts. That's very important because that's where we see and we feel and we go through the things that have to be done when a machine is repaired or fixed. It's a hands-on approach. It's a practical approach. And I believe it's crucial to sustainably making some of the best equipment that's out there. I call it the bloody knuckles factor. If you don't get the bloody knuckles yourself, then some of the things that need to be done to a machine to make it just right don't happen. So very, very direct approach that we have there. The other factor is that when you buy one of our machines, I truly believe that you own it. We recommend things that are reasonable to do with the machine, and it's a free country, and you can use it for whatever you want after that. And so practically, what does that mean? So many companies in their owner's manual, they put a bunch of things that say, well, don't do this because you might break the machine, and you might. But I respect that it's a free country, and you can do those things and break the machine if you want. It's yours to break. When you break it, and we get that feedback, that helps us understand what our next improvements are, what's the next bar for us to raise to. I think we look into the future, different technologies and different things. If you watched the news recently, there's a bunch of stuff going around about the right to repair. I believe that it's fundamental to our society that people own things that they understand, things that they can fix or service or whatnot. And so I support the right to repair. I think that's an important thing if we look long term at our culture and our society, which is very much not popular amongst OEMs. Oftentimes OEMs want to control a lot of that type of thing, and you'll see if you look through our YouTube channel, we're always talking about the best way to repair things. These are not secrets. We want stuff that can be easily repaired with a basic set of tools. Because it's your machine, and if you want to do that, that's fine. If you don't have time to work on the machine, you bring it to your dealer. We also want it to be easy to service there. That means that the labor cost to have it repaired will be lower. So a practical approach to how it's designed, how it's serviced, how it's maintained. The other thing that I'll talk about is sort of a broader business principle of how we make decisions. One thing that I say is I see our business somewhat as a co-op. In other words, a perspective that we are a business that serves our customers. What it is that you want and what you need, it's our job to deliver that. We work really for you, first and foremost. If that's not happening well, then we're not in a sustainable position as a company. And so there's no alternative, there's no other agenda. It's what does our customer need. That's the truth that we always go back to, the thing that we study, the thing that we go to when we're trying to figure out what decision to make on something. The other thing we do is we always put ourselves in your shoes. That means we may ask a lot of questions. We may do what we can to listen as much as possible. We get on the equipment and we do the things that you do with the equipment. We push it to its limits. And so putting ourselves in your shoes, having experience with landscaping and whatnot is a very important thing to how we go about what we do. The other thing is when we make product decisions, there's a saying, it goes something like, you might say somebody has a solution in search of a problem. And so many companies do this. They've got this great idea. Hey, we need to make this product, whatever. They go to market, and it's not at all what you need, not what you want. And it becomes, it's an irrelevant product. And so we want to be very cautious that we have the humility to set aside our assumptions and listen to what it is that you want. That's something that we continuously build and foster within our business, this focus on what is that you need first and foremost, and not about our own assumptions. If we have a decision between different things or something's not working, we don't want to see one department blaming another department within our company or something like this. We want it to be focused on what's the right thing to do for you, making the best equipment at the most affordable price. Same thing when we look at investments. We invest a lot of money into equipment that improves our productivity. But we don't necessarily run a particularly fancy facility. That's because that would be a cost to you at some level. So we have got a practical approach about what we do and how we utilize our resources, our time, our money, our investments. It's focused on delivering you the best product at the best value that we can. When you look at marketing, you'll see that we tend not to do anything that's over the top or especially fancy or overproduced, and that's because we have this practical approach. I think if I were to ask you, would you rather buy a mower for $100 less and not receive a lot of fancy marketing, or would you rather spend $100 or $200 for that machine more and have received a lot of fancy marketing? And I think you'd say, yeah, I'd rather spend less on the machine. And that's our approach. That's why we have a practical approach. If you look at our content on any of the different channels, or you look at our website, we have this very direct, simple approach that's specific to the business that we do, the product that we do. We keep it focused on that. Now, the other thing that we do is it's never about our competitors. Our existence is not to compete with our competitors. Our existence is to serve you. And if we're doing that well, we'll be successful and you'll be successful. We'll be more successful than if we were looking over our shoulder at our competitors driving off the side of the road. I won't deny competitors are a real factor, and we do compete with different people. But if we let that be our focus, then we won't be giving you what you need and driving that success together. So overall, that's some things that I describe as how we see our business, how we see our mission to serve you and what you're doing. I hope to be doing this for many years. I invite you to work with us, to buy our products, receive our support, and I look forward to seeing your success over many years. So we're just coming up on Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a great and safe Thanksgiving holiday and a great winter.